Words are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremo.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day of not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now, the two guys that took 2 years to fix their audio problems.
Welcome to BGFG episode 306. I'm your host, as always, Chris Phoenix, and my co-host, Mr. Free Mo Z. How are you doing this week, sir?
I am fantastic.
Good. I'm glad you're fantastic. Hey,
you know, it's crazy after however many years it's been and hundreds of shows. We're the first.
What?
I said hundreds.
Yeah, what's the first?
That covers 3. It's Saturday morning.
Yeah, this is definitely odd. And this is again why I'm glad that whilst we do stream, good.
Well, we started off in the 30-ish category.
Yeah.
We made it through a majority of the 40-ish, and we're closing in on 50-ish.
Yep.
We're getting up earlier and going to bed earlier. One day, we'll be reviewing early bird specials. Live. With sound even.
Live from Denny's.
God, do they still exist?
Yes. Live from Waffle House.
Yeah, no, that'll never go away. You can add that.
It's the best place ever.
The list of things that will survive the nuclear holocaust: cockroaches and Waffle House.
That is true. Waffle House will never go anywhere. So, how was your weekend?
The staff won't look a lot of different either.
What was that?
The staff won't look a lot different either.
Staff will look exactly the same, not changed a bit. Look all.
They'll be like, "What?"
They're gonna look like my liver. No, they're gonna look like my liver.
Ooh,
a 50-year-old chain-smoking Waffle House waitress. Yeah, that shit's real right there. So, as always, on the BGFG show, the Bi-Generation 4 generation, we announce people that are not coming down for breakfast, people that are not making it, they're heading to the pearly gates, or in some cases, the other way. That depends. I don't want to be disrespectful. We have 3 of them this week that I want to bring up. The first one being Rocky Johnson, Dwayne Johnson's father, Rocky Johnson. A lot of people don't really know the importance that Rocky Johnson had, but dude was a monster as a wrestler, professional wrestler. He was jacked. Hell of a wrestler.
You actually saw him and didn't realize that that's who it was. I'll guarantee you a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing that guy," but they just didn't know who he was.
Yeah, because he toward the prime era of wrestling, him and Tony Atlas became the first African American tag team champions, which was awesome. I mean, they got lifted up by their peers and everything. I mean, that was phenomenal. Both of them at the moment looked incredible. I mean, they were just muscle on top of muscle. Rocky Johnson married High Chief Peter Maivia's daughter, so that kind of put The Rock or Dwayne Johnson into like official pro wrestling, royalty right there. And he was a hell of a wrestler when he passed away, and it was sudden. It was sudden too. Like it happened like within a matter of like a couple of days. I guess he had a stroke, and it just went sideways from there.
Yeah.
The other person was Terry Jones from Monty Python. Sad to see him go. He was always the one that would play like the decrepit old lady and you
Yes.
clearly knew it was Terry Jones. I can't remember some of the quotes, but he also helped direct The Holy Grail. I don't mean The Holy Grail. I mean the movie The Holy Grail, Monty Python's
Yeah.
The Search for the Holy Grail.
Yeah. He
77
was,
years old.
And probably the most memorable character in that one was the young prince.
Yeah.
That was going to be getting married.
Yeah.
I love that line. The dad's like, "All of this one day will be yours," in front of the window.
Yeah.
Showing, they're supposedly looking out over this vast landscape.
Yeah.
And he goes, "What? The curtains?"
There's so many, like, the best thing about what they did, Monty Python, the comedy group, Monty Python, Terry Jones included in the writing, because they all contributed. They were really a well-oiled machine in a lot of ways.
Gilliam, Jones, Cleese. Who was the fourth one? I'd have to look that up.
Because you were saying the names, I'm thinking about them.
Yeah, I just blanked on the last one. But anyway, go ahead.
Their skits might not all be hits, but there's always something, especially in the movies, that you would pull out and just make your own that you thought was hysterically funny. For me, everybody thinks that like the This Is Only a Flesh Wound, the Black Knight is their part, and that's the part that they remember, and that's cool. I never thought of that like that. I thought that the cow, when they were catapulting cows over the wall,
Yeah, yeah.
that caught me completely off guard when I saw that movie and made me laugh hysterically.
How about the fact that it turns out they were a bunch of LARPers at the end?
Yes, yeah.
Before LARPing was a thing.
Yes, before it was a thing. Which is, again, interesting because, like you said, LARPing became quite famous to the point now where they actually have samurai duels, Viking battles that are all, LARP, essentially.
Yeah.
Some of them will even use standardized weapons, just dulled, which is crazy. Did you ever see some of those?
I mean,
you're from the South. I see that shit all the time. I see that on the way to work every day.
We LARP with like real weapons. You always tell who lost the battle come Monday at the office.
The guy with the black eyes.
Missing a finger.
Missing a finger. Jeez.
Guy's helmet's still on his head because he got hit so hard and it split.
Can't get it off. Can't get it off. And the last one, unfortunately, not coming down for breakfast, is Nancy Drew, the female detective from the books. 90 years old. They're actually going to finish that out and kill her off.
Maybe.
Don't worry.
Did you read the article? I got so mad.
Why? Because the Hardy Boys are on the case and they'll solve it?
No, I mean, based on all the crossover stuff that they've done with the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew over the years, it would make sense that they would be the ones that would investigate anything about her.
Yeah. So
Did you read the article?
No, fuck no.
You didn't get low enough into it.
No.
It was a diatribe against the patriarchy. Basically the person was saying that it's completely wrong. They're saying it's completely wrong that the Hardy Boys should be investigating what happened to Nancy Drew. There should be some other female protagonist capable of the job.
Okay, and I get their point because Nancy Drew is very much for women, empowered women and girls.
Yeah, I got no problem with that, but I mean, why do you have to go that route with it? The people responsible for the Nancy Drew Hardy Boys universe decided that, hey, let's do another crossover and have the Hardy Boys investigate what's going on here.
Which they always do because the Hardy Boys introduced Nancy Drew, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't see. Yeah, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. They're taking all this history of something we grew up with in our childhood, and now they're politicizing it and turning it into it's just stupid.
I agree.
Everything doesn't have to be political, people. Everything doesn't have to be molded to your worldview.
Right.
Unless you're God, then, by all means, it's the way you want it. But
Well, thank God for our first news story. Let's get into the news for this week.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So the first story this week in the news, I was excited about because, again, I have an autistic child, is that they just identified another 37 new genes linked to autism. The scientists over at the Mount Sinai Health System. I thought this was great. The more, and for those that don't understand, the more genes that they can identify with anything, overall, of course, but the more genes that they can identify with a certain, in correlation to a certain disease or ailment or things like that, the quicker they can contain it genetically. When you can have things done genetically, like stem cells, you're gonna cure things permanently, instantaneously. You're not putting a Band-Aid on it. You're not subduing swelling or pain. You're curing it. So it's a very, very good chance. And autism, of course, is linked with Asperger's, which is very similar.
Yeah, the one thing in that article that jumped out at me is 1 in 68 kids in America are on the spectrum to some degree.
Yeah, and I've seen it. When I had
we got to figure out the root cause of that. That's something that we've done to our kids through the food we've been feeding them, the stuff we did while we were getting them, while we were getting people pregnant. I mean, there's an underlying cause.
Yeah, when I was running my dojo, I specialized in a special needs program, and I loved it. I mean, that was my favorite class to teach. I loved all the students. I think they all had potential, every one of them, from adults to the little ninjas. But the special needs class was the one I looked forward to because these kids have tried, almost every single parent that came in said that their kids have tried at another sport and either failed completely or were told that they couldn't be part of it. And that's heartbreaking for a kid. It's hard enough when you're not special needs and you get picked last at certain things. It's any running event that I ever had at school, I get picked last. That kid gets picked last.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Exactly. So when I had special needs kids there, I love the fact that they would get it, and when I got like a few of them to break a board. I mean, it was kind of gimmicked, but you still have to put some power behind it. And it snapped. They looked unbelievably like they could take on the world. If you told them, I want you to move the downtown Capitol building by hand, they would have done it. They would have been like, I got that. Did you see what I just did to that board? You see that shit? Yeah, I got your building.
They'd have gone and figured that one out.
Yeah. I think it's incredible. The key genes they identified will jump from 65 that they currently have to possibly, 102.
Well, up to 102 now with that additional 37, yeah.
And their goal is to get to 300. 300, they figure, is where they're going to find the absolute cure for it, which is great. And if you've never, a lot of people see Asperger's and autism, even verbal, if the child's verbal, and we've talked about it on the show, so I'm not going to go on a soapbox rant, but if you know an autistic family, help them out when you can in any way, shape, or form, because it is not easy. It's not really a day-to-day disease. It's a moment-to-moment. Some sound, the neighbor next door that needs to fix his back door, that's drilling new holes to put new screws in, that drill sound might drive your child, that autistic child, absolutely bonkers because they're more sensitive to everything. When you want them to put on a certain shirt to wear to the store or to an event or to church, that shirt, just by the sheer manufacturing process, could affect their skin. Their skin is very sensitive. They'll break out in hives. Even if they don't complain, they can break out in hives. It's a mysterious disease, and it's awful because once the children get to a certain age, I would assume with like most special needs, I can't speak on the other ones, they get to a certain age where they realize that they're autistic, Asperger's, or whatever the special need is.
Right.
Whatever the disability is. And they figure it out.
kicks
And their
in.
awareness, that's it. When they have the awareness, it's rough. So the fact that they think that they can actually find a cure, or at least a substantial improvement to their way of life, it is going to be awesome.
That was a
Absolutely
big
awesome.
week for that kind of news. I ran across an article where they've identified a immune system, T cell, that regardless of what they've done to try and pull this thing into attacking any kind of cell, the only thing it attacks is cancer cells, and it attacks all cancer cells introduced to it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking, I mean, it would help out pretty much if they can figure out how to activate this thing. It would, I mean, prostate, breast, skin cancer,
Throat,
leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's. I mean, all of it.
Skin, something as I'm not saying that it's the worst. Cancer's cancer.
Autoimmune problems. I mean, everything.
That would be great for lupus, HIV. That would be great.
I'm gonna keep an eye on that, and as soon as we get an article that's a little more user friendly.
Yeah, because that's going to help.
I went down a rabbit hole. I was actually reading. It was the actual scientific published article on their research. So it's not an easy read. I just basically summarized what I learned from it.
Oh, it's one of those, huh?
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that.
There's sometimes tech articles that are like that. Yeah, definitely keep an eye on that, because if you can cure like cancer or leukemia or an autoimmune or whatever I have, I mean, if you can cure any of that stuff, then that would be great.
They were talking about they took these particular proteins, which are prevalent in a lot of cancer cells, and basically putting this protein on healthy cells, like, basting it, brushing it on, whatever they did, and then introducing those cells with the cancer protein on them to these T cells, and the T cells didn't attack them.
Oh, that's
they
good.
They knew that they were still good cells, even though they had this marker. So they're trying to figure out how these cells are differentiating, I guess, so that they can. I don't know. It was well above my head in the grand scheme of things, but the summation is that they're closing in on a particular cell that's already in our bodies that, if they can activate it the right way, will basically get rid of whatever ails you.
That's going to be helpful, because we need all the energy we can get for the oncoming robotic apocalypse.
Yeah, right.
Did you see Boston Dynamics, what they did? Our favorite company. Yeah. People that are watching this for maybe the first time, you're going to realize that there's a few companies that Freewo and I rag on consistently. Whether it's because we are impressed by them, like BlackBerry. Like, how are you still there, dude? They have 2 new phones free. 2 new phones. And they're pretty decent looking.
They're owned by the same people as AOL.
Exactly. There's another one, AOL. What the hell are you still doing around? Why do you even have a server farm?
You can't prove it, but I guarantee you they're owned by the same company.
Yeah, that company gets a lot of good federal contracts, I'm sure. But every time I hear AOL server farm, all I can think of is a bunch of like old compact Presario beige boxes all stacked up sideways.
Daisy chained together.
Exactly. Oh, that's priceless shit. No, but Boston Dynamics.
Couple of guys like, yeah, we were just goofing off with this concept. They kept sending us all these computers to destroy. It's just this massive warehouse that is stacked up. But we just figured we just hook them all together.
Yeah.
Look at what happened.
All those green recycling stickers I've been putting on computers all these years are actually going there. All right, back to the robotic dog before we go too far off track. So Cyberdyne, Boston Dynamics. I keep calling them Cyberdyne. Yeah. My bad. They
Skynet.
Yeah, exactly. That's their next thing. They're robot dogs. So we've posted pictures about this company because we both love and hate this company. We love the fact that they've succeeded so far with so many different things. and so many advances so quickly. At the same time, it's terrifying to think that one of these robot dogs could be walking down the street tomorrow. Now, they've made the new one a lot smaller. The original one that we had, and you can look it up at bgfgonline.com, and you'll find the original video that we posted of it was like 5 foot, wasn't it, Free? It was like 5 foot tall in a parking lot. And they're running and drop kicking it or side kicking it, and it would stumble a little bit and then come back. Then they did it on ice. It's like there's nothing that's going to stop this thing. And the immediate terrifying idea is what happens if somebody straps a gun to this, right?
Well, and that's the problem. What they've recently done is they're basically open sourcing the software for these things. They've put it out there for the world and said, "Hey, here's your SDK. Go do something with this thing."
Yeah, I don't know how comfortable I feel with that, dude.
And
it really
anyone and everyone can start coding for this thing. Now there's only a select group of people that actually have a visual unit to work with, and those are people that have been involved with the project for a while, like Adam Savage from Mythbusters got one, and you can go on YouTube and look him up, and he's going to do a year-long.
Oh, he got one?
Yeah,
okay.
He's going to he's going to do a year-long
my first thought
testing this thing.
So my first thought is that they're not going to.
But it's freaky, man. There's one video I saw of it because it's got 4 legs, right?
Yeah.
And they were showing this thing.
They call it Spot, so it's smaller. They call it Spot, and it's smaller.
Front and back legs, right?
Yeah.
So alternating front and back legs. It's standing on, let's say, its right front, its back leg, and it would hop and then land on the other 2, and then hop and land on the other 2 feet. So it's like very agile now. It's not.
Oh, it's extremely agile. The original one was like 5 feet tall. They side kicked it; it would stay up. They did it on ice; it would stay up. They made it a little bit smaller. They had it walk up and down stairs.
Well, have you seen the stand-up robot version?
Yeah, by Japan, by Honda.
No,
it's Honda.
It's by Boston.
Is it by Boston?
They've got one.
The thin one?
It had, this big cable attached to it.
Yeah.
It's no longer tethered.
That's good.
And it can do a backflip.
Nope. Sorry. See, no. Do we look at our science fiction movies, okay? This is not going to end well. It never does. Never. Matrix,
Anybody
Terminator. Huh?
You seen Chappie?
Yeah, Chappie. I mean, the movie's kind of
they've already
mediocre.
They're already talking about using these things for with police forces.
Jeez.
They're already talking about it.
See, no, that's not good. That's not good because, again, it's not just the idea of, you'll have Asimov's law in there, or the programming won't allow it to harm. It's only programmed to do what it does, and it's only programmed to put out parking tickets. It doesn't matter. It can be rewritten. And if you have any sort of Wi-Fi access, it's theoretical that it can be hacked. Look, what happens if you have a certain robot? Wait a minute, Free. Follow me. Follow me. You'll have
I'm 10 steps ahead of you, but I'm following you.
Oh, I hate you. So, so just imagine having a corner building downtown. You have a whole floor that while this stupid robot spends 15 minutes, that's all you need, 15 minutes, going around all these cars and checking all the parking meters on all these cars. Slow process around this corner. You have that entire time every single day or 2 days a week or wherever he comes his route. You have that time to be able to hack into this Wi-Fi system because that's the only way they're going to be able to keep track of them is if they have some sort of tracker on them. So it's theoretical. And believe me and Free when we tell you, when we say theoretical, it means it's probably going to happen. Because
no, that's what I was going to say. It's going to happen. They've already released the SDK kit for software developer kit on Spot to the world. That means it's got everything in there that you need to establish communications with it.
Yeah. So they're going to learn on it, and it can be rewritten regardless of what you do. So if you put some sort of gun on it, my gosh, if you put any sort of clamping thing, I don't care if it's for grocery bags. If you put
Well,
any
they've
sort
already
of
got
clamping mechanism.
They've already got a mechanism on it where it can reach up and open a doorknob.
Oh, see, that could be my groin. I'm not doing this. No.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't be running down this path.
You know what? It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the iPhone situation with the AG. So the Attorney General turns around and tells Apple that they need to bring all the stuff. They tell the Attorney General that they need to bring. They need to allow access to the iPhone 11.
Another first. Maybe we should do shows in the morning more often.
It's probably not a bad idea, to be honest.
For those of you who are wondering, I had to mute my mic, laughing, clapping hysterically. That was the best and only time that he has caught a segue and went with it smoothly, like right out of the gate, like I had no prompting, nothing.
Yes.
Sorry, continue.
Yes, that did happen just now. So anyway, now that we've exposed the behind the curtain and the business, so the Attorney General tells Apple, because they have this phone from a terrorist activity that happened in Florida, and they want to get into the phone to access the phone. So this was curious. Let me say what I need to say, and then I want to hear your answer, because you and I have never talked about this. And this is a very polarizing thing for people. Maybe not, good friends like myself and Fremo or brothers and sisters or something. But this is a very sterilizing thing, kind of like who you voted for president type thing. So the phone was a terrorist phone that was used during terroristic activities. They think that they can get into the phone. The FBI, the CIA think they can get into the phone and see known associates of this gentleman and be able to track down different terrorist cells. The FBI reached out to Apple and said, we'd like a way to systematically. No, let me rephrase that. They reached out to Apple and said that we need help with this phone. Apple provided the FBI with all the person's information, text chats, any data they can get off the phone, geolocations, anything they can get off the phone, they provided to the FBI. The FBI responded with they want a tool, software or hardware, to be able to unlock a phone if the person doesn't want to. Apple said, no, that's not going to happen. The FBI turned around to the Chief Justices, and the Attorney General actually stated to Apple, hey, look, let's come up with some sort of solution for everybody to be happy that we can gain access when we have a proper warrant or reason to get into these phones. Apple again said no, and that's where we are now. Now, Free, where do you stand on it before I say where I stand? Because I just talked a lot.
Apple has designed their system in such a way, and I can't take credit for this analogy. I read this; it may have been in the article in this particular show note, or I may have read it somewhere else. But essentially, to change the combination on this lock, you have to open it first, which means you have to have the original combination. That's basically the way they've designed it. It's not like a combination lock where you can put a key in.
To a normal person, yes. To you or me or a technician. I am an Apple certified repair technician for the most part. I don't actually physically do the repairs. I have to take all the tests and blah, blah, blah. But I do have that licensing.
Yeah. So essentially, in layman terms, you can't change the combination on this lock unless you know the original combination, because you have to open it to be able to change the combination.
Yes, we don't know what Apple can do, but and I don't mean like Apple, your local Apple store. I mean Apple corporate, an engineer there.
Now I would say that obviously around that, because you have things like Gray Key.
Exactly.
Which the FBI has used to get into iPhones, and Gray Key is a product that has been put out by an ex-Apple security engineer.
Right.
So I'm surprised that he hasn't been sued into the ground by Apple, because I'm sure they could get him for proprietary something.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute.
I digress. Do I think Apple should accommodate the government is basically the question at hand.
Right.
And you want to say yes, but at the same time, knowing what the government is actually going to do with this, no. In a ideal situation, yes, Apple should cooperate with the government, but our government is not an ideal situation and never. So no, I don't think Apple's doing anything wrong by saying, look, you obviously can get into them. Somehow that's good enough. We're not going to accommodate your efforts. And I'm okay with that.
So here's my take on it. My take is that it's a terroristic activity. They got all the information that they were asked for from Apple.
Yeah, Apple turned over all the iCloud information that they had in this situation.
Now, as for the phone engineering aspect, I do not know of a way as an Apple certified repair technician, or at least took the test and passed. And I do check in a lot of repairs. I do not know of a way to bypass the security code. I do not. Outside of resetting the phone to factory, I do not know how to do that. This black box thing is about the size of an Apple TV. It's got 2 pigtails out of it with lightning bolts. It plugs in. It brute forces the passcode. Tells you here's the passcode. Use it. You restart the phone unplugged and then put in that passcode and it'll work. So you'll have access to the phone. I have 2 problems with this. Number one, the FBI got as much information as far as I can tell, that they're going to get off that phone. Now, I'm not talking about, again, they got as much information as they could have really gotten off that phone with pictures and things like that. Maybe they'll get a few more text messages or maybe an app on there that has saved text messages that he can trace back.
Or contact information that's saved in a text file instead of being actual contacts. I mean, yeah.
Sure, there's a bunch of reasons. But the problem that I have, and the reason why I side with Apple, is because if you give them a tool, software-wise or hardware-wise, you give the FBI a tool. Fremo and I will guarantee you right now, as being in this industry for 30 years plus at this point, really, as tech people, being in the business probably 30 years, there is no way that you're going to keep this quiet. No way. The fact that only Cupertino people know about this, Cupertino is like on lockdown all the time. Like, even if you go there, it looks like you're seeing everything. You're not seeing jack squat, because their stuff is like super, super quiet. Nobody knows the stuff that they're working on. The shit doesn't leak out of Apple, period. They treat their employees so well that nobody wants to screw that up, ever. So nothing leaks out of Apple. So if they have a piece of software that can access these phones by brute force or not, the fact that they want to keep it is a good idea, because if it gets out in the open, I don't care what you say. I don't care if the Attorney General has it in his freaking drawer of his desk and he's the only one that can access this. Yeah. This will get leaked. It will, without 100% doubt. My God, how many senators, how many congressmen, how many politicos are in bed with hookers or mistresses? Guess what? They probably take off their phone or their pants. Guaranteed. Takes 2 seconds. Slide a little pigtail adapter in there. Dump all the information on if you have this tool. It took 2 minutes. No, it took 30 seconds for them to crack that phone with that software. So it can be done quick, and it can be done quick when some guy's diddling, a hooker or something. It can be done quick, and once it's done.
Outside of that, I guarantee you they'll take a hardware solution if that's what they're getting, but they're going to push for a software one until they get it, because once they have that, then they'll be able to look at anyone's phone anywhere in the world anytime they want to.
Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't scare you enough, just imagine that shitty
police. You've already got big telecom in bed with the government.
Yep. And
your phone has to connect to the world some way, somehow, through someone.
Yep.
So if they have a way to software hack a phone, all it has to be is connected.
Right.
In some way, whether Wi-Fi or 4G, 5G, whatever connection
8G, whatever Verizon wants to say they're doing this week.
And not even necessarily turned on, but just powered on. Just having a battery that has power in it, because even when you turn your phone off, it's still connecting.
After 9/11, yeah, everything's connected now for emergency purposes.
People they can already you can turn your mobile data off. You can turn your Wi-Fi off. You can go into airplane mode, and I guarantee you, they can still GPS locate your phone.
Yes, it's still emitting.
Which means if they have a software tool that allows them to bypass your code, then they can at any time, anywhere, snoop your phone.
Yeah. So once again, this is why it's important for Apple to continuously say no. Now, 2 more points before we get into this week's music. Number 1, the fact that the FBI actually did this, bought an illegal product to plug it in and hack a phone. They literally broke the law. Apple could legitimately sue the Federal Bureau of Investigation in court for cracking this phone.
Great Key?
Huh? Yeah, using Great Key.
For using Great Key?
Yep. I could see that happening.
I don't know.
I think it's hilarious.
How can you say it's an illegal?
Because Apple's a closed garden. Apple does not allow outside interference.
No, I get that, but
all the people that did phone unlocks before free.
A third party has created a tool.
Yeah.
The FBI used the tool.
Yeah.
To bypass the security of the Apple phone.
Correct.
The FBI never agreed to the EULA of that account.
Okay. All right. I see your loophole.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying they're not going to get sued over it.
And the other thing is that I wonder if any of them realized that if you did not, and again, if this leaked out and got to like municipalities, your local police department, how many of these geniuses are going to remember to actually shut off the Wi-Fi or figure out how to disable the Wi-Fi on the phone, maybe put it in a little Faraday box or something? Because if you know somebody, you have that one phone call. Yeah, call my wife, tell her I'm okay, and then if you can, here's my free. Listen. If you can, I know you're my lawyer and all, but if you can just go ahead and log into my iCloud account and erase my phone, you could do it remotely. So theoretically, if you know your man or your buddy or whatever just got pinched, and you guys use the same phone or somehow you know his password, figure out his password, get in there, and just simply erase the phone. If it's sitting in the detective's drawer or in a baggie in the lockup downstairs, doesn't matter. If it's on, it's bang, it's going to get erased. Or as soon as it turns on, the great thing about Apple is that as soon as it turns on, it will erase. So even if they had it turned off, as soon as they turn it on and activate it, it's going to erase. That's funny. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Good.
I was going to say, if you look at the tracking tool that was supposed to just be for certain law enforcement people.
Yeah.
Apparently forgot to plug my headset in and charge it.
Nice.
There was a case, I'll have to go back and find it. I don't know if it's 6 months ago, a year ago, of this ex-police officer who was using it basically to stalk people.
Right. This is the point that we're making, people. Oh, where's my sheep sound?
Right?
Listen, sheeple. Okay?
But it's not a good idea.
It's going to get, Guido, the killer pimp down the street, has connections to somebody in the mob. Somebody in the mob sells them this stupid USB key. I don't know what the hell this is. They say you can get it to any phone. Here. And they sell it for $500, make a quick buck, because you just made a copy of a USB. Well, that jabroni down the street now has access to everybody's phone. It comes within, I don't know, let's say 50 feet. This is all hypothetical. Within 50 feet, because they've modified the program since then. We're screwed. Yeah. We're absolutely screwed. There will be no privacy at all anymore, period. I mean, it's kind of tough to get privacy now. But if you do that, you're fucked.
If you use any kind of device, you have none anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Google getting busted within the last year. Even if you have location services disabled, and you do it on an app-by-app basis, Google's still collecting everything. Yeah.
Yep. Facebook.
I mean, they got busted for that. Congress flat out busted them.
If you look at our show a couple of weeks ago, we told you that Facebook, if you turn off location services in your iPhone, Facebook literally was in the court of law stating, yeah, we still track this, and this. They're like, but you shut it off, correct? Yeah, we know that. It's in the code. Apple authorized it. Period. Done. That proves right there, even as much as I love Apple and Fremont likes to bust my balls, the fact of the matter is it's still, it's still Apple being Apple, no matter how you cut it. They're in the business to make money. That's what they're doing. They're making money. And when Facebook says, I know the app's a little weird, but look, you're not Steve Jobs, and you're not Tim Apple, you're not Tim Cook. You're just a guy that approves apps, man. Your account, you can end up with that new car. That new car's going to get approved if you went down to the Porsche dealership tomorrow. I guarantee it's going to get approved. No money down. It's like, come on, this shit happens. People, look around a little bit. So before I get into too much more trouble, let's get into this week's
much more heavy discussion.
Yeah. Let's get into this week's, which is also funny because we're going to get into this week's music. And this week's going to be the Zac Brown Band featuring Chris Cornell doing, what the hell is the name of the song? Crap, where'd it go?
Heavy as the Head.
Heavy as the Head. Jeez. The reason why I lost track of my...
Go ahead.
The reason why I lost track was because the other shows that we've streamed are working, but you cannot see them on YouTube as a permanent thing right now because the two shows that we're doing, Fremont and I are doing BGFG, which has an intermission in the middle that we show new songs or try to show songs you might not have heard from our age group or for our age group. And then you have the After the Facts podcast that I do occasionally in the morning when I go into work at night. I'll do them in the morning, and that's just me going through my daily news run with music playing in the background, just something you can have coffee to. And I do that when I can, not that often. But it has music running all the way through in the background quietly. I got pinched for both of those, or I should say all 4 of those videos, and they won't let them air until I edit out the audio. Can't do it on one of the shows, so that's kind of a waste. And the other show, I'm probably going to just snip out the song in the middle and do something about it. So if you're watching the stream, not a problem. If you download the MP3 from the website at bgfgonline.com, not a problem. If you watch the video or are waiting for the video on YouTube, the song will not be in there at all. It'll be a blank space. I'm undecided what I'm going to do for you. I'll talk to you at a later time about what I'm going to stick in there.
Put a link for the song on YouTube, the official YouTube video of it, in the description.
Yeah, okay.
Or just while it should be playing, just stick a link up on the screen.
Yeah, I was gonna put like forget it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna go there. But I was gonna put a different link up there for them to look at, make sure it's working. All right, so I gotta do this kind of quickly. We'll be back on the other side of the song for a Netgear product, believe it or not. So let me get this set up. Ooh, excuse me. That is a great song. Chris Cornell, just Chris Cornell is just one of those people that it's just awesome. He's just great. I think he's Chris Cornell is going to be sorely missed for a very, very, very long time. And this was a later on one that he did. But great song nonetheless. And again, it's going to be fun to see how I'm going to juggle this and get this on. We've never had that problem before because we're not important enough. But if those appropriate, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Seeing as we've been talking about, a bunch of people, Tim Cook, heavy is the head that wears the crown. The scientists over at Mount Sinai, heavy is the head that wears the crown, because they have to come up with the rest of this stuff and make very hard and big decisions. But in our first piece of gadgets, we're going to go ahead.
The Jekyll and Hyde album is phenomenal all the way around.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Zac Brown's known for his country music, but there's everything on that album from pop to heavy rock to gospel. I mean, it's a sampling of everything.
That's very cool. I like when they do stuff like that. When they show all their influences. It's like it's like, I get you're and I'm using this as an example. I don't know if it's true. Oh yeah, you're an Avenged Sevenfold and you're a hell of a guitarist, but you were inspired by a bunch of R&B. Well, if you were inspired by a bunch of R&B, then play some R&B. Let me hear some of your influences. Play a cover, make your own R&B type song. I don't know. I just think that's a good idea. So when you get into this week's gadgets, and I thought it was kind of funny. Freeman had to step away for a moment, so I'll just keep going. Don't tell him. It's going to be great. Screw you, Freemo. Douchebag. So one of the first things I want to come up with or talk about in the gadgets this week was a device that I thought was very, very, very cool. I am a huge fan, and Freeman will say it when he gets back. It's very important that it's... he's about to put on his headset, so I want him to actually hear this because I know he'll agree with me. In the first thing, we're talking about Netgear switches. So the first thing is, Freeman and I would agree that if you can hardwire your house, and I don't care how you do it, if you can hardwire Ethernet in your house, do it. Get the Ethernet in any spot you can. Think of it like the way we used to run cable TV cable. Do it like that, because if you can make a hardwire connection, it's going to be a lot better for you. Second thing, difference between a switch or what is a switch/hub. These are those little things that look like a router that have a bunch of ports on the back, or just have them on the front, and that's all they have. These are one of two things, either a hub or a switch. You do not want a hub, not ever. They should really stop selling those things. You would know a little bit more because you do more networking than I do, Free. Yeah. Do you even use a hub at all anymore? Yes or no?
No.
All right,
the difference between a hub and a switch is a hub is just a pass-through. Mm-hmm. There's no intelligence behind it. So you can actually, depending on network traffic, you can end up with a lot of packet loss, which basically means if you've got 2, 3, 4 TV streaming, you're going to end up with a lot of buffering. If you're using a hub. Because there's no intelligence to it.
The hub takes that one IP address and shares that one IP address between whatever's connected right there.
Yeah.
The router, on the other hand,
a switch is
going to switch. Yeah.
It's going to handle. It's going to handle. Everything will have its own IP address, basically.
Yep. So it's like
it routes everything accordingly. So there's no collisions, there's no pass loss, there's no
it just
extra
works.
Buffering.
Right. So I'm lucky enough that I have 2 computers. The wife's 2 computers are behind me on their desk, 2 consoles on the TV to my left, and then my computer and Xbox connected to the computer here on this desk. So I have 6 connections. I have 6 connections on a switch. This one is an 8-port by Netgear, and the big thing right now is RGB is kind of hit its max and is kind of fading out now. And even though it's getting better, RGB management in your computer builds, one of the bigger things is wire management, both in the computer and under your desk. Wire management is a big thing for multiple reasons. Freeman and I will both tell you that wire management is important for just not only cleanliness, but not tripping over wires and getting wires lost and having animals bite on wires and all this bullshit. Just wire management is a better idea. Whether it's inside the computer case or underneath your desk, wire management is a good idea. That Netgear router doesn't do a whole lot of special things, but it does hide the wires very well. It does take away free that beautiful flickering I'm watching right now of all the pieces of the switch flickering and all the numbers flickering. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing important like NASA shit right now.
Right.
Because I got all them flashes. The new ones do not. They have one light that just shows connectivity, which is really fine. But what I thought was nicer on the feature package, was that it has this flap, kind of like our Love You that you see up here in the corner. Our sheep mascot has a vanity flap tail. This also has a vanity kind of cover that will cover all the wiring that you have on the back of the network switch. It
makes sense. It's just basically on the shell they extend it out past. Traditionally, where
the wires plug in.
It's just a box. It's just a box with all your connections on the very back face.
Right.
This case extends out past all your connections, and has flanges, whatever you want to call them, that your wires snap in between coming out from the ports, so they don't get tangled, they're not getting twisted up, and then a flap that comes down and covers all that,
which is really nice.
Yeah.
But here's why I brought this up and put this in the show. Because when you had your headphone off for a minute, I did comment on the fact that we both agree that if you have the ability to hardwire at any time, any connection, do it. Yeah. It's just flat out a better experience. If you combine that with the gigabit services that are becoming more popular from your local provider, which, by the way, I just cut cord again for the cable company.
Is that just happening up there?
What?
Fiber
Gigabit?
to home?
Oh, shut up. You're like the only town in the entire Tennessee that has fiber to the home.
Country.
Whatever.
Initially, I mean, it has rolled out. Google has rolled out, but yeah.
Look, I average 850 megs down.
We've been called Gig City now for almost a decade.
Yeah. Fremo does have a very fast connection, but we'll both guarantee you that it is worth the money. Wherever you live, getting the gigabit connection nowadays is absolutely worth the money.
It's the new phone cord coming into the house.
Exactly, and the bigger pipe you can get, the better off you're going to be, because every one of the people in the house are streaming on their handheld devices, guaranteed. Even if you don't think it is hitting the net. Your TV is no doubt streaming something, and somebody else in the house is no doubt streaming something. That is huge bandwidth, period. So getting a fast internet connection to your house, which, by the way, we just cut the cord for the second or third time now. So we have no more video coming in.
What was your usage last month?
Oh, God, I have no idea. I haven't checked in ages.
If you had to ballpark it, what do you think you're
We're coming close. We're coming close. I want to say 5 terabytes, though I'm probably wrong. I'm probably way off, but I think it's 5 terabytes is your monthly limit. I know on our mobile devices, we're always hitting the limit for the mobile cellular connectivity. For the house,
we do well over 2 terabytes a month.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Your kids are older, so they're not even on the internet more than the younger kids, I would suspect.
Yeah, there's not very many people left in the house, so.
Yeah, so you're on 2. It's very feasible that mine is 5 terabyte limit, and I'm very confident we're getting near there. You're figuring I'm streaming BGFG and stick style all the time. The little lady's on her rig behind me doing her thing. Let's see, one of the kids is always on his iPad, and then he'll fire up PlayStation. In the living room is the TV connected to one of our digital sources and or a game system. Right now, there's a girl down there, a friend of ours, daughter we're watching. She's watching TV streaming and playing a game streaming on her iPad at the same time. because God knows, can't do one thing or the other. But I digress. In adding your hardwire Ethernet connections are going to, you will notice the difference. Wi-Fi cuts everything in half. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize that. If you have a 50 megabyte download pipe, that's what you bought from Cox Communications. If you buy that 50 megabyte pipe, when you go to turn on the Wi-Fi or the router they gave you, if you chose to go down that road, that you're going to get no more than 25 megs, most likely. And if you look at the fine print on every single one of these providers, they guarantee up to gigabit, up to 50 megabyte. That does not mean we have to give you that.
Right.
A lot of times you'll find that certain areas will be lower than other areas. A lot of times they will guarantee just up to the modem. They don't give a shit about your devices and whether they work or not. Call Geek Squad for that. Mm-hmm. It's just as long as that modem is fired up, is pingable, and gets decent speeds if a technician goes out there on their device, not yours.
Right.
And which I think is a catch-22 as well, because you and I both know how they're doing that shit. Granted, on the client's computer, there's a lot of malware and stuff, but almost every time you plug in a direct, just DOS prompt connection, you're going to get the best possible outcomes. And you know the packets that they're sending are tiny. Yeah.
They screw in to the connection coming into your router.
Yep.
So yeah, they're getting 100% of whatever they want right there.
Right. There's no problem. I just think it's funny. It makes me giggle free. It kind of makes me giggle. I just.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen that make me sit there and go, good job, and I want to clap. Yeah, good job. Nice job, company. We have these problems, you and I, with a lot of companies, AOL, BlackBerry. We have a lot of problems with these companies. Sprint is one of those companies. Here's why. Best Buy is doing, or Geek Squad is doing Apple repairs. Screens and batteries in store. Most everything else has to be shipped out. But they're doing many repairs in the store. We're also thinking about, from what I heard, they were thinking about doing Samsung repairs as well. But I never heard anything else about it. Sprint now is supposed to be doing Samsung repairs. Yeah. According to the news article. And I think this is brilliant. This is where I clap for them. Brilliant job, Sprint. Trying to make yourself relevant. I know you're paired with T-Mobile. This is a new experience for you. But you need to get people in the stores. I get it, how you're going to do that. Samsung approved your repairs. Granted, it is only the S-Series Galaxy phones. I shouldn't say S-Series. It's the Galaxy phones, the S7, 8, 8 Plus, 9, 9 Plus, and the Note 8. That's all it is. So people, you can't be walking in there with all sorts of other Sony, Samsung phones. It's just those Galaxy phones.
Right.
Any carrier, doesn't matter what carrier it is, you can go in there. Not all phones can be repaired, and I'll tell you why before you get pissy. If you go down there and there's a chunk missing out of your phone and the machine or the device that they're using cannot pull the screen off of the device safely, they won't do it. Because if you pierce any one of these phones' batteries, it's a fucking problem. Like a big problem. You have to put it into sand. Then you have to put it into a hot box. Can't touch it. Have to evacuate the area for a certain amount of time. It's a big problem. So if your phone is like severely damaged, it'll be what they call a whole unit replacement. You'll have to replace the whole phone, not just the screen. So don't go in there thinking that's going to happen. So it's going to be $50. Was it 40 or 50? I can't remember.
49.
50 bucks. $50 to repair it. Certain phones, it's going to help a lot of people, which I really get. If you've damaged the frame of the phone, don't bother going. You're not going to get your phone screen replaced because it won't adhere to the chassis properly. I don't care what phone it is. The kick in the pants, I think, Free, is that if you show up there and it can't be repaired, you know what they'll turn around and do?
Offer you $200 to get a phone with them.
Absolutely, Free. Tell them what they won.
You want a chance to have service with Sprint.
That's what you've won. You've won a chance, all expenses paid trip down the Sprint memory lane to when they were once a good phone company. That's all you got at this point. Because to be honest, Sprint is a halfway decent phone company, and we want them to survive because as long as you have more players in the game,
competition,
prices are going to stay better for everybody. It's going to help everybody out. So we want them to.
They have a great network.
Yeah, solid backbone. Solid backbone.
Where they have a network.
And there was problem too. Combining with T-Mobile, they might be able to, if they take T-Mobile's business sense because of them being Deutsche Telekom based out of Europe, which, as Fremont and I have told you for numerous years, that the overseas way to buy a phone is a far superior way to buy a phone, period. You buy the phone in one store, you buy the SIM card and plan in the other store, period. You get the best phone you can afford, that's it, and it does a lot more than our phones do. Our phones are crippled.
And you're not locked into a carrier for a specific phone.
No, you can pop that SIM into anything, any phone you want, and bang, it'll work, which is great for breakage. So that's really it. Head down to Sprint if you'd like. I mean, their service is not too bad, and if you want to jump over there for a good price, do it. But I think we have more pressing matters to get into, and for what it's worth this week. So, first thing up, okay? Snowflakes, listen up. Sheeple, listen up. Stop. Just come up with your own damn idea, because now you're kind of pissing us off. And you really don't want to piss the technically superior and anonymous type people in the Generation X age group. You don't want to do this. And now you're starting to tread on some sacred territory, my friend. Sacred territory. Right, Free?
Yeah, we're the last generation that was allowed to fight in the schoolyard, so.
We ain't afraid to throw down.
Yeah.
All right? I'll cut a bitch if I have to. I ain't afraid. So, did you happen to peruse in the news our president that has authorized? No.
Awesome.
So first of all,
I think it's awesome. I'm not even. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I think it's awesome.
I know, because we've talked before. We're doing, hopefully in 2020, if we play our cards right, we'll be able to get something done with Diminished, which is a conspiracy podcast. And again, we call it conspiracy podcast, but it's not really conspiracy. It's simply, here are the facts that we have. I'm not looking too far and reading into too many things. These are the facts we have. Dispute them. Please dispute them. The quick example that we always give is the pyramids in Egypt, the stones, the size. How did you move stones and cut stones that sharply with primitive tools? It doesn't make sense. It can't be done. It's been proven. We need a different explanation. That's what we do. We've told you before that there apparently, and this is from multiple sources that we've both tracked numerous times, there is some sort of space force, and there has been, that has to do with the alien technologies that we've had and possible experiences with other alien cultures. Again, there's different pieces of literature you can read. We don't want to seem like we're crazy and super conspiracy. I'm just saying that it's a very high likely, from what I've read, shut up. It's a very high likely possibility that we've had some sort of space force before. The funny thing is that we always joked and called it Space Force, like it would have puppeteers running it. You know, it'd be on Saturday mornings, and it would have, some other weird aspect to it. But apparently we were wrong, because this government has decided to come out with the U.S. Space Force, which is the actual name. Yeah. The actual name, Free.
Yeah. Department of the Air Force.
It's under the Air Force.
Which is the latest iteration of Air Force Space Command.
But, and again, the Air Force has had a lot of secret missions, a lot of secret projects and divisions.
All I'm saying is, you look at entertainment, and you can watch
X-Men.
Well,
the SR-71.
We have mutants, not necessarily to the.
No, I'm saying the Blackbird. I'm saying the Blackbird.
But you can watch TV, and there's usually, at least, it's like a good myth. There's a basis in fact for that myth. the legend may have grown into something that's not true, but there's a grain of truth somewhere behind every myth.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree.
With that being said, does anybody remember a little show ran for about 10, 11 seasons, spawned 3 or 4 spinoffs? Stargate? Anyone?
Yeah, does anybody remember that?
SG-1?
Yeah.
Do you remember Stargate SG-1?
Anyone?
Okay. Yeah, Space Force.
Yeah, exactly, Space Force. I do, was that the name of that little show within the show that they did when the guys were having their own sitcom and they had to go in and tell them, look, calm down. Okay, that's a little bit close to the truth.
Yeah, I think it was SpaceX maybe. But anyway,
yeah, it was SpaceX. SpaceX, that's what it was. So, yeah.
But that was the Air Force.
Yes, it was. It was absolutely the Air. Look at X-Men and the SR-71 Blackbird. The SR-71 Blackbird, by the time we knew that it actually existed, the Air Force came out and said, yes, this has existed, they were retiring it. And it had already served 10 plus years. 10 years as far as we know. It could have been longer. Yeah. Huh?
20-something.
Oh,
it was
20-something.
Introduced in the late 50s, early 60s, and got retired in the 80s.
Yep. So this has been used photographed-wise. It was used in a bunch of early cartoons and TV shows, that shape and everything. But it wasn't until the X-Men came out that you were like, oh, that's the actual... wow, that's kind of... So
that's the SR-71.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on that we don't know about. And if any military branch has clandestine operations, it is the Air Force that has the most, in my opinion. From everything I've read and looked into, the Air Force has some serious black bag shit going on. They're not assassinations. I mean, just they have a lot of technology they're not telling anybody about. A lot.
Yeah.
And I always...
The Navy's up front about it. Yeah, we're putting lasers on our ships.
yeah. Again, my thoughts on the ocean. We shouldn't be in there. So I'm the all-in-one. If you want me to go into the ocean free and you want me to take an ocean liner somewhere, not a problem. Get me one of them ships with the lasers. That way, if something goes awry, they have lasers and rockets and missiles to shoot at whatever the hell is attacking us in the water, because we don't belong there.
I know Aquaman.
You know Aquaman?
Yeah.
What? You know what?
I just completely derailed you with that comment.
Yeah, because I was like, what the hell are you talking about with Aquaman? Yeah, I know Aquaman. I know Batman. I'm Batman. You know what? This is going way off track.
Really?
Yeah.
You're Batman? Have you ever seen me and Batman in the same room?
It's a valid point. I haven't. But I'm still standing fast to the fact that I don't think you're Batman. Just like I don't have the build to be Robin. You can't picture me in those tights. It's not going to happen.
No. I try not to picture you in any shape, way, form, or fashion.
That's good. Douchebag. So one of the things I want to show you that's also weird that I thought was
we
great.
We really devolved no original idea about Space Force logo, which we didn't even really talk about.
Holy shit, that's
what
true.
It's a copy of. I love it.
Oh my god, we did.
For what it's worth.
So
it looks a lot like Star Trek.
Yeah. So the badge that it came out with for Space Force, oh my god, I still can't say it without giggling. The Space Force badge is pretty much identical to the Starfleet badge. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, and they've even quoted Star Trek in a lot of ways.
What I love was the fact that someone tried to defend it and say, no, it's really similar to the original U.S. The Air Force Space Command logo. Well, yeah, that one looks like the Star Trek one too. Hello.
That's so true. It's so true. And I have a poster. Where the hell is it? I think it's on that wall over there. I have a poster of. Maybe I'll send you a picture of it. It's got all the spacecrafts circling the Earth. It's a very nice picture, but it's also got a few Star Trek ones in there. Like it's got the Phoenix missile, it's got the original Enterprise, the Enterprise D. It's got all of those in there, and it shows size comparisons to all of them.
Right.
And then on the bottom row, it's got all the different patches. So the Apollo 11 patch is there. And then it jumps over to the Phoenix patch that was supposedly in Star Trek, and then a Star Trek insignia. Yes, you're absolutely right. Space Command did have a logo very similar to that. Absolutely. But again, which one came first? Who inspired who? Because it's guaranteed to happen. You can't come up with that shape randomly. That's just bullshit. That's not going to happen. You can't do it. What you can do is you can head over to a wonderful, wonderful site called Incredible Things. I forgot all about this damn site. I was going through some old bookmarks that I had, and there was a lot of dead links, and I was like, oh, that site closed. That's sad. That was a good site for this type of thing. And, oh, that site closed. I just get a lot of information from there. Oh, man, this porn site's gone. I just can't. So one of the sites is called Incredible Things. And I remember as soon as I clicked on it, the actual page for a forward, but it still had the menu at the top. So I was like, oh, let me click on the home button and just see if the link was broke. And sure enough, the website still exists. What I loved about this website is not that it's incredible things like, oh my God, I need that in my life. No, this is absolutely dumbass shit. This is stuff that you will buy and literally, or you'll buy if it's cheap enough and send to like me or Fremo. Like you have that friend that's just going to be like, dude, I'm sending this to him.
The Office gift exchange.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Office gift exchange. Exactly. Like a French fry car cup holder. Okay.
Yeah,
French fry car cup holder. What has come up with our society to the point where we can't figure out how to use that little divot in the center console or the seat next to us or some? How the hell do you think the rest of us survived growing up? Do you think that we had all these nifty little gadgets? No. We put the fries on the seat just like everybody else and controlled our braking so that the fries didn't fly off onto the floor. Why do you think when you get into your friend's car in the middle of the summer and there's fries on the floor, you know the fatty that was there before, you didn't miss them in their mouth? I didn't. You know, but the ones that fell on the floor were when you had it on the seat, just sitting there and it flew forward. That's where that shit's from. You know, they get stuff like coyote urine. You're a hunter. What the is that for?
Well, you use that to keep other things away.
Really? That's your answer?
Like if you have like a garden and you want to keep the rabbits out.
So
spray that around the perimeter of the garden.
So if I don't want a bill collector to call, I should sprinkle some urine around my front porch.
Well, if you don't want him to call, you should spray it on his phone.
Oh.
It'll work, trust me.
This phone smells awful. I'm not calling anybody on it today.
Oh.
There's a pungent aroma. That's the one that I thought I stopped at this one because I want people to click on the link. I stopped at the ham dogger. Ham dogger. Did you see that one by any chance?
I may have missed that one.
The ham dogger is a way to make a hot dog out of beef with no skin. So a sausage, really, like. I get it. It's got no skin, but it's a little plastic mechanism that you can maybe put a cheese-filled beef stick in there. But when you see actual people, and this is what I love about this site, because like all the fun sites that Fremo and I have turned you on to over the years, this is one of those ones that you see actual people buy this stuff because it's short money. It's like $8 for this thing, I think. You get it and you see people's real pictures and real reactions of using it. So, yeah, that thing looks great and the pictures are all solid. It's kind of like the way when you see Burger King commercials. Burger King commercials look phenomenal because they're spray painted, they're fake fries, they're colored a certain way. You know, they're sprayed with oil so they look like they're dripping. They're mostly fake pictures. Nobody's going to eat any of that shit. But these are real pictures. So people are like... Things are falling apart when it comes out of the little mechanism to make it a circular, even though you could do it with your hands and do just the same job. It's just a great site, and it just makes me chuckle uncontrollably. What about...
Easy open canned unicorn meat.
I have some.
Excellent source of sparkles, magic in every bite.
Oh, brother man, hold on. Hold on right there. Don't go nowhere. Which one? Where's the other one? Hold on. I'll be right back. You talk.
There's no way you have this. Absolutely no way. I'm excited. If he actually has the unicorn meat, I'm not going to go so far as to say I'll burn my Xbox because I've made that mistake with him once before. But yeah, this site's good. If nothing else, it's good for a while to see that someone has actually produced these things, which means that somebody is out there buying these things. So yeah, I guess there's hope for everyone as an entrepreneur. All right, let's see it. What do you got?
All right, so you can see the camera, and the people that are on the stream and on the video can see it. What did you say? Unicorn meat?
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh my God, he actually has it.
Right here is the unicorn meat.
He has
pal.
the exact can. Did you order it off this site?
Hold, my friend, because that's not the only thing they sell. And right now, for the quick Ronco price of $19.95, three installments.
Not just one payment.
Not just one payment, three payments of $19.95. You too can get the bonus Yeti meat. This is the pure Himalayan Yeti meat. This isn't manufactured free. This isn't your local,
this isn't like fake crab. This is the real deal.
No. This is not like your local little forest.
They didn't cut it. They didn't cut it with none of that lowland Bigfoot meat.
Right. I mean, who? That is probably one of the funniest things you've ever said this year. That low Bigfoot meat.
This is pure mountain.
This is Himalayan mountain.
Above the tree line grown.
Yeah, so you don't open this because it really smells bad. No, I'm kidding. It's basically a unicorn cut up. And the other one's like a Yeti foot cut up.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what's inside. But yes, I absolutely ordered these. And next time you and the little lady come and visit, you'll see the collection of weird gimmicks that we have. Like we have the rocks from Fifth Element. We actually have the rocks. They're not plastic. They're actually stone that were carved. We got the unicorn meat, the Yeti meat. We have some weird shit. I think we had
awesome.
We had a teapot somewhere that had like the smoke would come out of Vader's helmet, because it's a bunch of Star Wars stuff.
Oh, here's one. Power cube.
Oh, and a power device?
You plug it into it's a cube shape. You plug it into the wall, so then you have 5 distinct power plugs. This site That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, this site literally has the most ridiculous shit, and at the same time has stuff that you go, you know what? If that works, I'm going to give that a try. Now, granted, this is the same type of sites that you're going to find the Chinese camera that is, a high-definition camera that is $150 cheaper than the Logitech one it looks like. Yes, these are some kind of knockoff stuff, but you have to understand that when you know technology like Fremo and I do, and like we try to educate you guys on, when you get to certain stats, it's certain stats. If this has a Leica 24 lens in it, and that web camera has a Leica 24 lens in it, don't sell me on the lens, because I know the lenses are the same. If this speaker has a 50 millimeter driver and this one has a 55 millimeter driver, I know I might not ever hear the difference or be able to tell the difference between the two unless they're side by side. So I'm going to get the one that's $200 cheaper. That's the way you kind of play the game. But this site has stuff like you never even thought that you needed. And the reason why I put it in the income tax section is because a lot of times people don't get a lot of money for income tax. They have it planned. They have to pay a bill. They have to take care of something. So if you have an extra $10, $20.
USB drive.
What was it?
Humping dog USB drive.
Yes. I love that one. And it does exactly what Fremo says. I have seen it working. It literally humps. They had 2 of them. They had the dog humping one, which was quote unquote more acceptable, and then they had the guy actually humping a girl at one of the conventions. And as soon as you plug it in, it pulls very little power, and it just makes it squeak and go wee wee. It's pretty weird.
Brilliant.
Yeah. One of the last things I want to bring up this week, Free, is I don't even know how to start off this thing. So. MC Escher.
I don't know.
I want you to follow me on this.
And I'm thinking I may try this.
Granted, it sounds cool. So MC Escher, his most famous painting that people will see, did a lot of black and whites. His most famous one is one with the stairs, never-ending stairs. They go in every direction. Harry Potter had an entire scene based on that type of picture. As soon as you see the picture, you're going to know it. The other one is the two hands that are clearly drawn, but they look like they're 3D hands, cupping.
Yeah, but they're drawing each other.
Yeah, they're drawing each other in opposite directions. If you're watching the video, you're seeing Struggles Freemo try to come up with a hand. It looked like gang signs free. I don't know what the fuck you were doing over there, dude.
I just slipped in a message to all my people. Meeting at the bunker tomorrow.
Oh, the bunker. So there's a free game from Epic Games called The Bridge. And this is supposedly going to mix Isaac Newton's like theories and things like that with MC Escher's style of art a lot.
Yeah.
And as you can see from the pictures and videos, Free, like you said, as soon as you see it, you go, oh, I want to try that just to see what it looks like, what it does.
Yeah, it's basically a puzzle game.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like a escape the room type game where
Yeah.
But with, mind-bending, non-physics abiding solutions. Which should be interesting to figure out.
I want to add, if you're a fan of escape the room type scenarios, I would strongly recommend trying The Room on iOS. I don't know if Android has it yet. They have The Room 1, 2, and 3. They're so good looking, and they're just good. Kind of get out of the building or get out of the house.
Do y'all have any of the real life escape room game things?
No, not up here. Do you?
Yeah, there's one in Nashville. If you come down, we'll have to go up and, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I mean, you could drop the same amount of money across the way at Dave & Buster's in about the same amount of time.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
I think
cool.
It'd be kind of cool to go.
Yeah, it would be.
And,
because when we get down to 5 seconds, my big 300-pound ass is going to drop kick that door, and we're getting out of there.
Yeah, we're going through that wall. Just to let y'all know, don't figure this.
Phoenix is going, okay? I'm just going to tap him on the head, and we're out of here, folks, okay? It's Phoenix, there's a lobster sandwich. There's a lobster sandwich on the other side of that door. What?
Right.
So I was thinking, what happens if you ever had an MC Escher staircase table puzzle? That's going to be the hardest puzzle ever. Like, do you have a corner piece? I don't know. Well, do you have the stairs going up? I don't know.
See?
That's
got
going to be
a piece with stairs.
I don't even know if that exists, but if it does, that's going to be incredible. That's really going to be that would drive you crazy.
Would be even better if it was one of those like foam like 3D puzzle ones.
Oh my gosh, that would no.
So you actually have, you got stairs coming like this and then coming off of it like that, and you'd have to figure out how to connect all these different. I mean, that would be brilliant.
No, not going to happen.
Dude, we designed that. We could retire.
Yeah, along with the dog condoms. That was my entire life savings. You know how hard it is to put one on an angry pit bull.
I told you that idea was not going to work.
Look good on paper. All right. So, did my battery? No. Oh. Yeah, so my headphones just unplugged and I can't hear anything right now.
Phoenix is gay.
Let me just go ahead and get that plugged in. Oh, shit. I put it in.
So you'll have to go back and
my
watch.
wedding night all over again. Put it in backwards the first time.
You will. You'll have to go back and you'll have to go back and listen to that.
You can keep jabbing. I still can't hear you. All right, now I should be able to hear you.
So yeah, you'll have to go back and hear what I just said.
Oh, that's good. It's not right. You got anything else this week?
Well, let's just say that what I said is going to get you some hate mail.
Oh, great. It's going to be a long beep in the post-production. So usually after the show, we usually at the when we do the show at nighttime, we go play a game afterwards. We're not obviously doing that. I have to go to work. Fremo's got other things he's going to do.
Yeah, in fact, have you looked at the time?
Oh shit! I gotta go to work. I gotta get the hell out.
All right. Well,
oh man, I really gotta go.
it's been fun.
Yeah. So not all the information on the outro is correct. I gotta fix it. But we're on to bigger and better things in 2020. That's it for this week. 10's Down show's over.
Whoop whoop.
Thanks for tuning in. You can find more of this funny stuff
All right, man.
at
Later.
BGFGonline.com. Please click on the donate button. This is a user-contributed show. And follow us on Twitter at BGFGonline and Facebook, Phoenix Media Group. See ya.
So I decided not to put my glasses on this time around, so I wouldn't get a reflection from the glare, and I'm already having trouble seeing the show notes already, which is weird.
You need a second monitor?
No, I have a 49-inch monitor. There is no reason why I should need a second monitor at all. This is as big, if not bigger, than my desk.
Okay, well then you just need to increase the font size.
Yeah, I
on
did
that
that.
particular application. What are you on? What are you using?
Windows. This is the best trouble call ever. Currently, I'm looking at OneNote, sir. Stop. I already erased. This is the worst trouble call ever because you and I would just have it. It's just awful. Windows. You know what? Here's something for those that are actually listening, who are listening at the show. When you call the tech support, please do us all a favor. Do not shout out the model immediately of the device. Please don't. Just don't. Don't call up and go, "Hi, how you doing? I have the HP Envy 61-2487Q, and I was having."
Oh, are you kidding me? I love it when people.
Oh, come on! You're full of shit.
Like
You're full of shit.
Not
Bullshit.
Why would you like that?
Did you not just hear what I said?
No,
That's
I
when
didn't.
I started messing with them.
Oh. Oh, that model's broken.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Does your asset tag on the back of your Dell have a 3 and a 7 in it? Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Yeah, those have been recalled. We had to bring them back.
Are they next to each other? Ooh, they are.
Yeah, we're gonna have to re-image those.
Fortunately, I don't have to deal with any of that anymore.
So we'll start off. Unfortunately, you're not going to hear the music for another couple of weeks, or the intro. You're not going to hear the intro either, which is unfortunate. It's not like you haven't heard it for 300 episodes.
Just tell me when you're starting it, and I'm gonna try and keep my head bob going.
Yeah.
And laugh at the appropriate times.
Don't do that. That's going to throw people off the Z. That is great. The Z is awesome. All right. In 5, 4,